who have a stake in the game, and if they're willing to cast a vote, that they're willing to cast their vote in a thoughtful manner. So how are you, each of you, rewarding people who actively participate and benefit this system? What's your unique model that you're doing to go in and tell the people who are contributing in a positive way and rewarding them for that participation? Because clearly, as you all say, you couldn't do it alone. And I'm just going to mention one more thing. Apple is, or at least for a very long time, has been the world's largest company by equity market capitalization. And they long ago realized that no matter how many software developers they had, they themselves could not possibly go and fill the iPhone with all the different ways an iPhone could be used. Now we have the App Store. What you guys are all doing is to some extent building your own versions of that and allowing the brilliance of many to go and contribute to the infrastructure you're providing. But again, let's bring it back to kind of how much power do you think should be in these people's hands, and how are you rewarding people for making good decisions on your behalf?
So I guess like in our governance model, we have this thing called a reputation point, that's presented by my core developer. So we have this reputation point, which is essentially like the way to bootstrap identity and reputation, right? So some of these other DAOs are basically based on how much tokens they have on the system, which gives them the power to make decisions, right, based on how wealthy they are, for example. And for us, it's based on how much you participate. So somebody who has 20 stake that only does half of the work is going to be equal to somebody who has 10 stake who does twice the work. Right? So we're incentivizing the work as well, not just the skin in the game portion of it. So I guess that's, and like you said, there's the App Store. And if you look at the App Store, maybe like how many apps there are on the App Store, and there's maybe like a handful that are really successful that makes Apple a successful product, right? And so we're hoping that like maybe not every project that we support and vote for will be successful, but enough will be successful enough that will bring more adoption to DigixDAO. Make sense?
So for Kyber, just a disclaimer, compared to like Digix or Maker, right? Our DAO is pretty much like in the development and research stage still, right? So it's really, really early stuff. And like my personal viewpoint is that DAOs is still very experimental. So like there's not a lot of like data out there yet. There's not a lot of like projects that have really launched it out there. Like maybe Maker's like one of the most battle-tested DAOs out there. At Kyber, we're trying to like learn from these different projects and from our community as well to see like what is the best suited mechanism for our own DAO, like for Kyber, whether like for example for us, right, we do like we're on the liquidity protocol, we do a swapping service, we integrate with other projects. So we want to see like what kind of governance mechanism or model makes sense for us. It could be very different from like Maker or Digix. And of course, in terms of like how we reward those participants, right? So there's this term called generalized mining, and it was a term made by CoinFund. So what it basically means is that you have this third-party, actors that are providing a service to the network, and the network in turn incentivizes its people, right? So in terms of like being able to participate in DAO activities or provide whatever service, right, and the network like incentivizes them in some way, right? So we're also thinking along those lines by maybe creating like a treasury fund that is managed by DAO, and this treasury fund can provide grants to these different projects that are trying to like grow the ecosystem of Kyber by creating like different projects. Like for example, we have our permissionless reserves, and we want different community members to build this diverse, unique interfaces to be able to use these permissionless reserves. Or like for example, our cross-chain efforts, right? We want to find like community members to be able to like bring our protocol maybe to other chains, and we want to incentivize that in some way, like maybe starting by having a trading. But again, it's like all experimental, and we're trying to serve from the general community.
We'll cover some of that in a little bit. Yeah.
So let me just answer David's question. So it's like how good is our risk specialist? I don't know, like to be honest, see the thing is that's why initially when we first appointed or when we first distributed tokens to all these big whales, right? The major big stakeholders, right, which is the institutional investors, because we believe in their professionalism and being a responsible token holder, managing the platform, maintaining the itself. And I mean, see, the thing is, once the product or the system actually gains momentum to actually takes off and operates on its own, I mean, like, obviously we still have, like, the major stakeholders and the ecosystem, but the thing is, it's our plan to actually further distribute all these, remaining 260,000 maker token holders to, like, to the general public. So, I mean, we're just waiting for that right moment, right? Like, that's why we are releasing our multi-collateral DAI very soon, which is Q2 this year. It's going to be backed by a lot more different collateral types, and I'm not going to touch too much on that. And so the question is that how much power do we give to all these stakeholders? So basically for MakerDAO, Maker token holders actually have the voting rights to vote on the risk parameters associated with all these different collateral types. And obviously, on and off, if there's a major big decision, like, say for example, maker governance philosophy, we would just call for like a governance polling. And the rewards is that, if all these maker token holders actually were to govern the system right, they actually, they get something in return, which is, maker token actually get burned, when the DAI CDP holders were to close the CDP, and then and obviously it actually decreased the supply of maker tokens, and the price of maker token actually goes up. So today I think the maker token price is about $720, which also deters speculators from investing in a project like this, because it's like, oh damn, $700, I probably need to actually study about the project more or something like that. So yeah, that's my work.
So I've actually been, my agency's been the beneficiary of the DAO for almost 3 years now. So we've been working with Dash, the Dash core group specifically, since July 2016. And the Dash DAO has been working since even before then to essentially remit payments of 10% of the block reward every time a new Dash block is mined. That goes into a treasury and that gets allocated. And it gets allocated based on votes from the DAO. And it has been very successful. They've been able to pay our bill, and we've been able to pay for staff, and that's it to be here. So it's really worked. We've also seen positives. We've seen that Dash, for instance, in countries like Venezuela, has taken off. And the reason it's taken off in Venezuela isn't because anyone in the Dash core group happened to have connectivity there, a special type. Of course not. The main founder was based in Arizona. But what happened was people realized, and this is really important, people on the internet, which crosses every border, realized that they could potentially get Dash and get compensated for doing something interesting. They would develop and build out the Dash ecosystem by being rewarded for it. And so they put proposals up to the Dash DAO, and people voted, and then they won them, and then they succeeded. And then the very best of them were able to go and come back for a second time or third time and build businesses, be entrepreneurs on the DAO itself. That is to say, the DAO is actually incubating some of the most exciting businesses in the entire blockchain ecosystem, and it's happening entirely, essentially autonomously through this DAO. So, that having been said, mistakes can be made. And the Dash community will be the first to tell you that mistakes have been made in voting. They've trusted that someone was going to go and fulfill their promise. So 2 things. Number 1, what mistakes are going to happen in your DAOs? Because you have to anticipate that mistakes will be made. Even the best venture capitalists, they fail 80+% of the time. And then also, what are you going to do about that? How are you going to make sure that you kind of recover from that mistake and learn from it?
So yeah, I guess you're correct that that there's going to be 80% that are going to be not good projects, and I think a lot of the DAOs are going to rely on the 20%, right? So if we can capture even 5% success, which is basically better than Y Combinator's holdings, right? We're going to be successful, and we're hoping that we can get there that way. And I think, like you said, Dash has been successful and really taken some inspiration from their model as well. They're actually one of the first real active DAOs in this space. So I think that's where we're kind of headed. And our system's a little bit different because it's based on reputation, and that basically incentivizes people to continuously participate and continuously give their good ideas to their project. And the people that do that, we'll, we will know that they have a good reputation for seeing out the projects, so they can comment on the projects or they can propose projects themselves, right? So we're relying on this reputation system basically, which I think is kind of unique to our system. I don't think the other DAOs really have this, so I think this is sort of like our secret sauce right now.
So yeah, I mean, like the stakes are high, definitely. I guess like one of the main concerns that we need to address is that the switching cost is really small. Like a user can basically like transfer from one project to another with just a few clicks. They just sell up his tokens and then participate in another project, right? And within just a few clicks. So that's kind of like one thing that we need to address, right? Like how do we get these users to continually participate in our, helping govern our project, right? I don't have an answer to that now because we're still in the research stage, but we're definitely conducting a lot of different DAO experiments. We actually just conducted one like a few weeks ago, and we continue to do so to collect some metrics from our community and also feedback from other projects, other community members as well, to see what really makes sense for us as a project. It's exciting stuff, but also a lot of experimental stuff. So and definitely we need to put a lot of effort in taking all these things into considerations.
So yeah, MakerDAO. So what is the downside, right? I mean, what are the downsides? Possible downsides is that DAO by definition is decentralized and autonomous, and it all lies in the code. But the thing is, we're all humans. We're dealing with humans. None of the projects in the room actually started out decentralized. So there's a centralized group of developers, core developers that are building the system itself. So, and we are all humans after all. And so when emotions come to play, how do you actually resolve the conflicts? That's the reason why you see some projects actually split into, two different groups, even before the actual DAO actually takes off. So I guess, I don't know, to counter this downside, what should you do, as a DAO? I guess it's very important to actually build a very strong team foundation so that you hire the right people from the very onset that shares the same mission, shares the same mission that aligns with your company vision. For MakerDAO, we have 5 pillars, we have 5 major principles, and under the Maker governance framework, which is number 1. We use scientific governance. All these scientific models are being created by the risk specialists within the team, and then the governance framework is actually broken down into two components, which is governance polling. So basically, what governance polling is about is actually to gather sentiments and feedback, from the community on our main social media channel like Reddit. We are very active. Our stakeholders are very active on Reddit and also Rocket Chat. And then the second component is actually executive voting. So executive voting, it means that it will be executed when so the actual changes in the system will be executed. So it kind of give the user a chance to actually recourse by the time when an executive proposal actually takes place. So, and the second pillar is providing financial inclusion. So we are very big in financial inclusion. David talked about Venezuela. So, hyperinflation is so bad in South America, not just Venezuela, also Argentina. So we are doing a lot of stuff in Argentina, and we have a team based out of Buenos Aires. They are providing that, alternative medium of transfer to all these people that are suffering right now because, it's worthless. You have to literally actually bring a sack of cash, to the bakery and buy a loaf of bread, So it doesn't make sense, right? So we are sticking by that second principle, providing financial inclusion to the unbanked, the underserved. Number 3 is sustainable finance. So when we launch multi-collateral DAI, how we look at what are the factors that we actually consider the different collateral types would be, if your token is sustainable. Like, I'm talking about like, like in reality, like corporate social responsibility, if you are socially sustainable and economically sustainable. So for example, like Digix, they're backed by gold, right? They're sustainable because it's gold, but whereas for coal and mine, you have to mine it, and it's not economically and socially sustainable. So we won't pick someone as opposed to like Digix. And then number 4 is that we are always driving towards decentralization, and and last but not least, we are driving by mass adoption. So then
We're going to talk about.
Yep. Okay.
So yes, we're running short on time, so I'm going to combine 2 questions into one.
Yeah.
5 years from now, what's your DAO accomplish? And secondly, does that mean we're mainstream?
First question. So I think that in 5 years, we will have more utility for our DigixDAO tokens as a result of these ideas that we are collecting from around the globe, right? So there's, like I said, we don't have all the ideas, but we can define what problems there are, right? As a community, we can take all the different problems from different cultural backgrounds, like people from Argentina and people from all these places with high inflation, people that have economic instability, things like that, and we may be able to capture what problems can we solve, what are the common problems first, and then we can make generic solutions to these common problems, and then find the specific problems that each of these specific cultures and backgrounds have, and then build upon that. And I think that from there, we can have other utility to our DGX and DGD tokens. People will come up with new ideas on how we can use gold as a payment, as a way of collateral, and DGDs as a way, because we have a reputation system, right? We can bootstrap other things that require reputation. For example, we can have a project where people will just basically use our reputable members to decide on different things that maybe not even related to DGX, right? So we can reward people for that as well, right? So because these are reputable people 5 years from now, then they can decide, okay, this decision, because we are reputable, then you can trust us to make the right decisions, right? And the second question was mainstream. I hope so, and I think that we are on the right track to get mainstream adoption because 1, we have a lot of funds that we can basically make use of, and 2, I think that there is a lot of interest in this type of model, crowdsourcing information, democratizing access, using technology. That's been a common theme for a long time, since the beginning of technology, right? So we're trying to basically build something that as a DAO, right? We want to set an example. And if we are successful, then other DAOs will be copied and will copy our model, and people will be more attracted to our system or their system or other DAOs out there. And I think this is sort of we want to be have our own Google moment, right? Be the pioneers or be the leaders in this.
So first, go to the mainstream question. In 5 years, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
You heard it here first, guys.
So, if you look a couple of years back, right, in the first Ethereum meetup, we were 15, 20 people, and as each year passed by, more and more people have been attending these meetups, in the first meetups, you would be able to recognize each person and know their name, right? Now, when you attend conferences, you're like, is that you, Bob, or Christian, kind of like that thing. So, for sure, we'll be mentioning that, every year, every day, there's been a whole lot of developers, new community members, traders, I guess, have been entering the space. So, yeah, for sure, in 5 years. And, what would Kyber be like, the DAO of Kyber be like in 5 years? Definitely, in 5 years, it will be completely governed by the community. So I guess it's really meant to be an open protocol, an agnostic open protocol that is governed by the community. So we can see something or a system, an economic system that is self-sustained, right? We have this treasury model, we have this mechanism where different stakeholders in this economic system are doing their part, proposing projects, other proposals, improvements into the system. Yeah, so definitely like maybe in 5 years you can see like the Kyber team slowly stepping back, maybe still playing like a pivotal role, but definitely like in part we will see like a more decentralized project.
So, yeah, MakerDAO. What do we see MakerDAO 5 years from now? I see the thing is there's a long way to go. Like I think we're still learning. You know, being the oldest active DAO in the ecosystem, and yeah, I think the two objectives to build a successful DAO would be, you know, like it lies within DAO itself. It's decentralized. It has got to be decentralized and it's got to be autonomous. Today, you know, if there's a bug in the system, right, you know, the developer will come in and fix the bug. But the thing is, you know, DAO, we have, you know, like plenty oracles, like, you know, for MakerDAO case, we have 14 price feed oracles. So if an oracle actually were to be compromised, the entire system will still be made whole because there are like 13, 14 other, you know, oracles in the system. So every person and every node is taking on like different responsibilities and functions right now. You know, so I think that's we foresee, you know, like MakerDAO building towards, you know, towards that decentralization. And then number two is that autonomous. How do you become autonomous? Because right now, I think what we talked a lot, you know, within MakerDAO is that, you know, how do we actually generate, you know, self-sustainable streams of revenues? Right now, everyone's talking about that fund, you know, the funding that you have, you know, your research fund and stuff like that. But once all these that fund or research fund actually runs out, you know, you still need to generate revenues, right? I mean, that's the reality of life. If you go to a VC, you tell them, oh, I don't have a revenue generating business model. Like, you know, they won't even actually invest into you. So I think within MakerDAO right now, we're just focusing on, you know, finding that stream, you know, that self-sustainable stream of revenue streams. Yeah. Yep.
And will it go mainstream?
When will, I'm not saying this because I'm working for MakerDAO, but I think stablecoin is needed to actually for, you know, cryptocurrency to actually go mainstream because, I mean, like, you know, you can't really use Bitcoin and Ethereum to actually buy a cup of coffee, that's what I always say. And that's why we need a stable form of medium of transfer. And yeah, so, yeah, stablecoin, FTW.
So we'll open up for questions in a minute, but I just want to say that the first famous DAO resulted in a schism of Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. It shook us all, everyone in the industry, to our core. We wanted to understand what was the future of Ethereum, what was the future of governance, what was the future of our technology, our industry. And from that, we've spawned many other interesting DAOs. And my hope is that the result of your hard work and all of your brilliance and the brilliance of the communities out there. So I invite everyone out there watching on the webcast to participate in these DAOs, to find out more and participate in a way that you actually take an active role in the future, because they need your help, as brilliant as they are. So again, do join, find out more, please visit their websites, and please everyone give a hand to these brilliant people from Digix. And now we'll take a few questions, those of you. So anyone raise